Welcome to the channel. This is Winter Survival. The developer was kind enough to provide me with a key to take the game for a spin, and so I did. So I thought I would do a follow-up video to the live stream I did on this, summarizing my initial first impressions of this early access to this early access game. Well, I believe it's entering into early access, but I'm not 100% sure, I guess. But anyways, I have the early access build, so that is what the impression is going to be on. So if you haven't heard about the game or don't know anything about it, basically what it is, it's a survival game, but kind of like a horror survival game, but not really. It's more of a suspenseful, very atmospheric, with a hint of supernatural kind of disturbances going on. Well, I haven't encountered any supernatural thing, but you kind of get the feeling that there's something ghostly going on anyways. So we're going to jump into one of the games that I have going, just to go over some pros and cons and give you my opinion on the basic feel of it. But first things first, I won't go through all the options or anything like that, but there's a ton of options in here for setting your graphics and all that sort of thing. The game, like a lot of titles these days, does need more optimization, but there's enough graphic settings in there that you should be able to get the game running smooth on mid-range systems and above anyways. And there are a couple different modes of play. If I hit start new game, you get this menu with sounds in the background, but you have a story mode, endless mode, and a cold wave, which comes later, which I guess by the sounds of it, I'm not too sure. Waves of enemies, maybe? I don't know much about that one, but it's available soon. We got a story and an endless mode, and that's kind of important. I actually haven't tried endless mode, just story mode so far is what I've been in. But that's important to know that the developer has on the Steam page outlined a roadmap for the game, so there's definitely future developments planned for the game for sure. So here we are in the game. Now I only have about 4 hours in the game, but I've researched it a little bit, checked out some other reviews, not too many, so I didn't paint my opinion or anything like that, but I think I have enough information that at least some of this should help maybe determine if you want to buy the game, or, you know, just help form an opinion, like if you watch this video and a few others, to see if you'd like the game or not. So I have a lot of pros and cons. We'll start with the pros. Right now, I love the atmosphere of the game, how spooky it is. Right now, we're kind of hiding away in the initial cabin in the story mode that you kind of stumble upon. We have our nice cozy fire here. Outside is a raging snowstorm, sort of raging. Anyways, not much visibility, feels very cold. The atmosphere is really good, really spooky, nice sounds, all sorts of things. You got wolves and bears, everything wants to eat you. There's elk that's call in the distance, but the lighting is good, all that sort of stuff. So the atmosphere gets a big thumbs up for me here. I definitely like the looks of everything in the feel. It gives you a really good feeling that you're in a dangerous spot, that you're all alone, it's cold, and you're in a survival sort of mode. So as far as some of the survival goes, I guess we'll touch on that, because there's a lot of survival components, a lot of things going against the player that affect the player character negatively. So there's a lot to keep track of. It's not a super simple survivor game. So if you're into like a more complex one or more management kind of one, this might be for you. And the bottom left is pretty much a basic an outline of it. And oh, there goes the fire, which goes back to my atmosphere kind of thing. Everything's all dark, and all of a sudden you get a feeling of dread. So we're gonna throw a few more logs on the fire here. We're gonna light it up. And what's gonna happen is I went back into save. This save is not very far in the game, but I've gone back to a point where I'm in a safe spot, so I can do the review like when I'm in the game to show you a few things. So I might be bouncing back to this spot over and over again, as depending if I go outside and get eaten by a wolf, or if I run out of fire and freeze or something like that. But just so you know, pretty much what I'm doing. But in the bottom left where I was going there is you have like a tiredness icon, food icon, thirst, and then there's the temperature, how cold you are. And then it's a symbol of your, in the bottom left there, your brain. This is what the game does differently than other Survivor games. Well, not all of them, but you know, this is the angle it sort of takes, is it actually monitors your left and right lobe in your brain and all the different things that can negatively affect it. And you're not only struggling against the survival of, you know, food and water and cold and stuff like that, you're struggling mentally in the game, and there's all sorts of debuffs that can happen there. As you can see in the top, well, up on the upper left area of that little area is like a little picture of a cabin with like a red circle filling up. That's actually cabin fever, and that's something that mentally affects people and can affect someone in the game. I've been in the cabin too long, all by myself, all lonely and everything like that, and that is taking a toll on the player's brain as well. And this sort of brings me to one of my first things that, well, some people will find it as a pro, some people find it as a con. I personally like sort of the angle they're taking at the game. They're trying to be different than other Survivor games, but the trouble with that is if you go too different than the industry norm on a Survivor game, then you get reviews and you get people, you know, thumbing the game down because, you know, it's not what they expected, or the gameplay, you know, wasn't like this other game, or wasn't like this, and it didn't make sense to them. If it's too different, then it can kind of backfire on you. But likewise, if you make a game that copies too many you know, aspects of other games. I take example like Pal World, pulling a lot from like Ark Survival Evolved. They get accused of, you know, copying and not being innovative and stuff like that. Well, this game's definitely on the side of not copying. It definitely is trying to do its own thing, but it does risk that sort of bit of backfire to it. I did see one review that didn't like the game, but the reviewer didn't seem to understand. They are trying to come from a very different point of view and try to do a different sort of survival game here. And the examples to that is sort of about the mental state of the player character. And I'll have to give some examples here. If we open up our little menu here, what's the best way to explain this? Yeah, you can't actually see it from the menu. But what happens is after a while that you've been in the game and the player's taking so much strain, you'll go to bed and go to sleep. During the sleep, you'll get a debuff, and you actually get one right at the start of the game, and you actually get to choose your debuff. But it's basically what's happening mentally to the player's mind. And what this can be is things like the player will start seeing animals that aren't really there. It'll see predators that aren't really there. They'll see, you know, rocks falling down and they're not actually falling down on them. Things like that. There's graves and tombstones spread around. There's a debuff where you can't really go near them. You start to go more crazy. There's actually a hunter sense in the game, or like some kind of like Witcher sense, which you can turn on like this, and then you can sort of see things around you. And one of the debuffs is when you come out of this sort of sense state, you have vision problems and you got to shake your head to sort of come out of it. So from my understanding, the developer angle on this sort of adding all these mental problems to the player, sort of making it like they're going more and more crazy, is they see other survival games as they get too easy as you progress to them, such as you know, your base gets stronger, you get more tools, you get all this stuff, and the game actually gets easier as the time goes on. From my understanding, the developers are going for either the game's going to get more difficult as the game goes on, or at least the difficulty stays the same. So that's kind of important to know, because some people may like that, some people may not. Doesn't mean the expectation for a lot of survival games is the game gets easier as you go on, as you establish a base, as you establish all these tools. From my understanding, even though I'm not very far into it, from my interpretation of what's been explained to me in the documentation, is that they want the difficulty level to stay the same, or actually even get more difficult as the game goes on. Another example of that is how you level up in the game. If we go in here and we go to our adaptations are pretty much levels in the game. So see, in this version, I'm only in level 6, or in this save, I'm only at level 6. But they're little things like this, such as the first one you get, you'll have slightly reduce the risk of injury from falling, and then you can have things like slightly increase your energy pool, and slightly increased health pool. So all these ones are sort of slightly increased. So you do get a feeling like your character's getting stronger. There's a bit of progression. It's a nice little animation when you unlock one of these. But here's the thing that's maybe one of my first negatives on this. I'm not too sure how I feel about it. You see how a couple of these are in red, how number 2 is in red and number 5 is in red. Now what happens is, as with the debuffs that happen when you sleep, due to mental strain on the player character, you also lose these rewards. So I don't know what to make of that. In this sort of, you know, gaming time and age, I'm not too sure it's a wise idea for a game to reward the player for their hard work and then pull it away. See how I'm only level 6? Well, I just got this level 5 one, you know, 30 minutes ago, and it's already been yanked away. It's like, here you go, and then 30 minutes later, boom, we're taking it back. Now you can recover these by doing these recovery challenges, which are little tiny missions, but I'm just not too sure about this gameplay mechanic, pulling the rewards away. And then if you're doing a challenge, right now the game is challenging enough. By the way, they recommend that you play on easy to start, because it is a challenging game for sure. Well, for me anyways. I don't really need another challenge, like a mini challenge within. Oh, see, now I'm freezing because my fire went out again. I don't really need, I think it's daytime too. Let's take a look. Storm's still kind of going, but at least it's daytime. But yeah, I don't really need another challenge on top of just the challenge to survive. So that might rub people the wrong way. It kind of bothered me a little bit, where it's just like, oh, I'm progressing, then all of a sudden it's yanked away from you. So I don't know about that one. So keep that in mind, that's how sort of the game seems to be designed. It is definitely trying to be a challenging game, and it's from my understanding, it's trying to go against the industry norm, I would say, as survival games getting easier as they go on. I think they want to maintain the difficulty, as in you get more tools and stuff like that, but you're going to have more mental challenges in the player as it goes on, and it may actually even get more difficult. That I don't know, because this is definitely just, you know, a super early impressions of the game. Okay, so the video's going a bit longer than I wanted to, so I'll try and wrap it up sort of, but there is a bit more like negatives I want to get into, but I want to reiterate that so far the game's been very fun for me, and I like the exploration. I like to see what else I can craft. It's got all that cool survival stuff going on. The atmosphere, like I was saying, I completely love the atmosphere. I know I don't have any gameplay really showing, but I don't really want to spoil anything. I just want to hop in or be in the game here just so I can, you know, show a few things around. Like right now I'm kind of out of firewood, right? So you want to go out and make sure you're ready. You know, you got this little stone axe here, and you know, you'll do the normal survival thing, whap at the tree. Oh, there we go. There's the plunk. See, I'm not sure that's a bug or not, but I wasn't really hearing the plunk of the tree. But yeah, you just kind of swing around on it. Then it'll do the thing where it turns into logs. Oh yeah, and he's tired. Yeah, there. See, I just broke my axe. So it's all that kind of the stuff. You go in your crafting window. There's all sorts of stuff in here, of course, just like you're expecting in a survival game to have. But I do have to touch on a fairly big negative, and that's the bugs. I mean, if it is coming out with the early access tag, that's sort of to be expected. There is bugs in the game. There's definitely bugs in this version. Some of them are fairly big. I mean, I only had, in my 4-hour playtime, I've had 2 crashes. So I mean, that's a fairly frequent rate of crashing. During the stream, it froze when I was in one of the menus, and had to you know, Control-Alt-Delete out of it. And then I had actually attempted to record this before, and during the recording it crashed to desktop. So there is that there. I've had things like you'll have a torch, and this, at the start of the game, this is your only defense against the wolves. And you light it up, and then you can of course use it to see, but you can swing it. And I had lost the ability to swing the torch when a wolf was attacking me, so I'm not too sure. Maybe my arm broke and I didn't know it, or something happened. But I think it was a bug that I couldn't swing the torch anymore. So things like that. In the top right, you'll see my quest log, like little mission things, and there's one called Smoke Signal. That's part of the main story, and it says wait for contact 1 day, 15 minutes. Now that's 15 real minutes, but in game that's probably like 15 hours or something like that. But when I first unlocked that mission, it had the font kind of overlaying the other font. I couldn't quite read what it said, and the timer started at 0, and it wasn't going anywhere. So when I first did it, maybe that mission wasn't even working because the timer said 0, 0, and then I couldn't quite read it. So like little bugs like that, I've had a couple crashes, and I had the bugs like that, like the two I just kind of mentioned. So definitely some bugs going on here. So yeah, just preparing here, chopping up some firewood, so just like that, and then we got, you know, firewood pickup simulator kind of thing going on. But that is sort of all I really wanted to talk about here. Oh yeah, there's alcohol in the game. I find it kind of funny. I must have been drinking out here. There's the old and there's battery I threw on the ground with the my flashlight must have died, and then you know, it's got all the animations too that you kind of expect. Good immersion, so there's a very positive thing. Like, see here, what do I got in here? Oh, here, some vodka. Let's have a drink of vodka. There you go. You'll chuck it back, and you get, you know, liquid courage buff and all that sort of stuff in there. So you can go around collecting booze, and then there's cans of beans and all sorts of stuff that you can cook up. So the immersion is really high. The atmosphere is really good. The game's going to be really challenging. The game is fairly complex, and the game is trying to be different. Just to sort of summarize all the pros for you. If that is something that you're looking at trying, then you can't really go wrong here. I don't have pricing information or anything like that. I think it's only PC only as well. See, I'm not even fully sure. I did research, believe it or not. But some of the documentation didn't say these things. But anyways, I can only speak on the Steam version and the version that I'm currently playing. But I did want to get a little bit of a video out there for you. And I think I covered most everything that I wanted to cover. Oh, there's a wolf here now. And it's kind of like a stealth thing where you run up to the wolf, it shows like a little symbol. And this is easy. I think it gets, like, on the easy difficulty, it's fairly easy in terms of this, but he should have like a little triangle that appears above him, and it will alert him. Okay, I guess he has a cone of vision. He doesn't even see me. Anyways, you can't really fight these guys off. I can't even get him to notice me. Here I am saying the game's super difficult, but it must have a cone of vision in front of him that does it.
I'm beat.
Oh, there it goes. See the little triangle up there? There, he's starting to sense me. So it's got like the stealth kind of mechanics sort of thing. But as you can see there, it looks like it's vision only, because he definitely wasn't seeing me there. But that's how that works. And then when they detect you, of course, you have to run for your life, because right now I have no way of defeating the wolf. They just kind of eat you. And it's got the wounding, like you bleed out and all that sort of stuff, and bandages. It's got things, nice realistic survival stuff, because there's a stream right over over here. Forget where in the world it was. Yeah, there's a stream here, so if you step in it, not all your clothing gets wet, just your boots get wet, and then you can hang them up to dry, stuff like that. So it has little things, like it monitors how wet your pants are and how wet your coat is, and all that sort of stuff. And it's got all the little animations you'd expect. If I can find my canteen here, if you walk in here, you can either drink right from the lake, or you should be able to bend down. Yep, there you go. So it's got all the cool little animations, and then you can drink some water, all that cool stuff. Fill it up there. I'm getting pretty cold now. You can also dump it out. I don't know why you would like to, but you can. It's got all the cool immersion stuff like that. You also have to bathe somehow, hold the wash. I actually haven't done that yet. You must undress to wash. So, okay, I haven't done that yet. But there you go. But yeah, look, I'm getting cold on the outside. But yeah, if your clothes gets all wet, like, it's got nice, cool, immersive stuff like this. You have to go in here, and here, let's get our fire going again here before I just end the video. Just show you this. So we'll light up the fire. Alright, and then we can hang our clothes up. So it shows our boots are 23% wet. Oh look, our pants got way wet, more wet than the boots in there. And then they're pretty much hanging up to dry. So you have to do things like that. And then, yeah, I haven't bathed yet. Here, let's try that. Hold on. Let's hang up all our clothes and go get clean. Because if you don't get clean, you end up being stinky, and there's like this brown stuff around the screen, and the wolves can smell you easier. Stuff like that. It's a pretty funny game. I gotta like it. Okay, so we're over in the water here. Hold to wash. Oh, there we go. There, we're getting cleaned up. Oh, yeah, my stench is going away. So there you go. Probably freezing now. Alright, so there you go. Some more immersion. Some more challenge. I'm just running out in the snow with no clothes on. And then by the time you come back in, there, the fire's going, we'll close the door. It's nice and cozy in here. And then there's all our stuff. And then, yep, it's all dry now. And you just kind of throw it back on again. So, there, we're all dressed. We're all clean. We're pretty tired. We need food to eat. Suppose I could show that real quick here. You find like this meaty peat around. You can put it on the fire. It's just basic menus though. I wish there was kind of like an animation for that. But it'll cook the meaty peat, and then you can burn it too if you're not careful, right? So you take that, and then of course there's a nice little animation for eating the meaty peat. I mean, you find cans of beans and all that stored stuff around. But I think that's all I wanted to go over. Yeah, I think we'll leave it at that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go take a sleep here, just to see if I can show you the debuff screen, because I think it only comes up when you're sleeping. But I'll show you this too. It shows you your stats down the one side, and then you can move the clock around, how many hours, and you can see all your stats drop, right? Like your energy will go up, and you get colder or whatnot. So we'll sleep this long. Actually, we'll go into the next day, just to see our big 9-hour sleep. But I'm going to be starving. I'm going to be very thirsty. I'm going to be cold. We'll see if the little debuff window pops up or not. It's got nice little animations and cool. Like there's our brain, you know, and there's the, yeah, here it is here. So I'm glad I showed this just to sort of end the video. This is the debuffs here. So you have to pick critical ones. Now the ones that I have so far, you start with this one, hallucinations. So you'll see like these undead deer and stuff like that come out of nowhere and spook you, and they're not really real. There's also this one I have, which is perception fatigue. That's the one where you use the senses and you gotta like shake your head after. Because when you come out of it, like the vision's all weird or something. I haven't really seen too much of that. But then I also have this one which makes you more concerned of, or more scared of the tombstones that are around and stuff. But there's things like this. You'll see non-aggressive animals. Materialize more, I guess. Not too sure why it's different than that one. I guess this is just the base one. And then, what's this one? Oh, this is, he's seeing like rocks there when they're not there. This is, you'll see wolves that aren't actually there. That'll be freaky, actually. Because it'll... Anyways, and there's more up here. But I don't know if they're just not implemented in the game or they get added later. These are some of the buffs. So you have to pick one, then you choose, and that's sort of how the game gets a bit more difficult as the game goes on.
My teeth are chattering.
And his teeth are chattering. And I don't have any fire anymore, but you can light this up. And there. So that is the game. So yeah, I thought it's very cool. And I do enjoy it, but it does have that downside of having bugs and being slightly different than other Survivor games. If you don't really want something stretching out to be that different, then maybe it's not for you. But hopefully they can get the bugs under control there. But anyways, I'll stop rambling for now. Video is definitely long enough. Thank you very much for watching, and hopefully you can stick around on the channel, check out some of the other stuff, and take care. Have fun, guys.